Hey everyone, happy Saturday. I just had the best morning. Like, this is exactly what I've been craving for a few days. So what I thought I would do is clean up my kitchen, which is a hot mess, not because of food stuff or kitchen-y stuff, but because of it sometimes being a dumping ground. And I will talk about what I did today and then show you all this crap that I brought into my house, which is probably why the kitchen is a dumping ground. Okay, so this morning I woke up quite early, not on purpose, just that's when I woke up naturally. And I spent a lot of time working on my bullet journal, so I think there should be one day soonish where I kind of walk through my bullet journal for 2024 and kind of show you what spreads I have so far. And usually this is what happens. I start a bullet journal and then I just abandon it. So this is the year when I'm gonna keep up with it. I do have a Skillshare subscription, so I'm hoping to take some classes on like hand lettering and bullet journaling and stuff like that. But I noticed this morning is when I started my day that way, which granted I'm not gonna start my day that way like on a work day, but I just felt so calm. And I think what I need to do is like find like a craft or two that I enjoy, like stupid things like coloring calm me down, but like, yeah, just like bullet journaling and stuff I feel like could help as well. After I did that, then I got ready and I went to yoga, which I haven't gone to in a week or two, I would say. And it was just really, really nice to be able to go to yoga. And then after it, I got breakfast there. Oh, I should probably take my morning pills, but I just got a smoothie bowl and then I sat and I finished this book. Where is it? The Loneliness Files by Athena Dixon. I am in love with this book so much. I'm gonna do a standalone review of it later today. I just need to go through all my underlines and like put them together in a more logical fashion to tell you about it, but it was glorious. I loved this book. So after that, I went to Barnes & Noble, which was for returns, and the lady was really grumpy. I think that it was a shame response because I was more familiar with the technology than she was, and she was flustered that I didn't have a hard copy of a receipt, and I asked her to look it up by my member number. I have a book haul for you guys later. Then after that, I was really close to Aldi, and I needed molasses for Bert's little breakfast recipe, and I was pretty sure Aldi wouldn't have molasses, but I also like wanted to see what holiday stuff they have from other countries, like mainly like mince pie. Like, I don't know what these are. What are mince pies? I don't know. Like, it sounds like it's meat, and I know it's not meat, but I'm just saying. I just wanted to try one, and I thought maybe that would be the place to go, but it was not. But I did get a bunch of other stuff, so let me show you. Heather ruined my life, and I had to buy slippers. Now, Aldi is not Lidl, but it is a similar idea to Lidl, and they did have a whole box of slippers. And I thought that even though this dusty rose color is not my current color scheme, my current color scheme is more of a dusty blue, or like a gray blue. I still thought these seemed really cozy, so I got them. Okay. Bread for more toast. Steak fries, because they're almost like chips, right? Oh, by the way, when I was putting those away in the freezer, I just pulled out this. This is not from today, but I think that when someone was slicing the boxes with the box cutter, they cut it and the cut goes through the plastic that's underneath too. So I need to return this, but it's kind of a pain to like bring ice cream to the store. Like, what are you gonna do? Go on your way home from work and it's like melted? I don't know. This is my new favorite ice cream, just straight up vanilla. And for whatever reason, dairy has not been bothering me as much anymore. Although I'm still trying to go easy on it. And obviously I don't need to eat pints of ice cream all the time, but oh, so good. I'm not gonna eat it when a knife has sliced through it, but I do need to return it. Then maple cookies, which I'm hoping are the same as Trader Joe's, since Aldi's and Trader Joe's are the same, but I also got maple leaf cookies one time from Meijer, which is like it's like a Midwest grocery store. It's really local to where I live, but it's also all over the Midwest, and they were crap. They were not good. So random finds. Sauerkraut, because I love sauerkraut. And they had broccoli cheese soup, which I don't know how this is going to make me feel. But they had like 2 different kinds of Panera Bread soup. And they were super cheap compared to like other stores. Oh, one more thing. Remember that video game I started yesterday? Well, I'm really grateful for the feedback or the heads up, I guess. But somebody on my Facebook said that it has a really tragic ending. And it's already pretty emo. And so I'm a little concerned about the ending. Hey everyone. Okay, the lighting is super weird. There's like loads of sun coming in, which I love. So anyway, what I thought I would do is show you my Barnes & Noble haul and then also some books that came in the mail. Here's the story. I'm a squirrel prepping for winter, essentially. And before I go on what is not a book buying ban, but a book buying reduction, I do what I do every year, and I frantically buy books like books will no longer exist come 2024. I don't know why I do this. I already talked a bit about my book goals, but I've like reevaluated and like made them more specific today. So money is involved, and there will be a chat later on money. So anyway, okay, what I got from Barnes & Noble when I returned books, I wanted to get this book, Doppelganger, because basically Hannah Mae, she said this was one of her favorite nonfiction books of the year, and I do not watch her channel very often, but that girl has good nonfiction recommendations. And when she says that you need to read this book, like you need to read it. And I need to go back because I know that Sean also read it, and I need to see like what did she say about it, because I don't remember. But I just bought it, so I'm a little bit out of luck if she says that she hated it. And then this is a book which I wanted to buy last time I was there and did not, but bought it now. And this is Your Brain on Art, How the Arts Transform Us, and it's by Susan Magsamen and Ivy Ross. I just think this will be super interesting. I'm always interested in neuroscience and the brain. And there's a book I really, really, really want for Christmas that I'm hoping I will get, and then I'm not allowed to buy myself, even though I saw it go on sale, because maybe someone will buy it for me. I don't know. But I think that I want to dive a bit into creativity this year and art and just learning more about art, because I don't really know very much. And I thought that this would be an interesting one to add to that little study that I want to do. And I have a few others too that I think would be good conversation, good books to be in conversation with one another, that are on art. Then this is a book I did not know I wanted, but I came to the store and we saw each other and we decided to hang out. And that is Remembrance, which is the correspondence of Ray Bradbury. I freaking love this guy. Like, I've only read a few books by him, but everything I've read, I have absolutely loved. There's a lecture on YouTube that he gives on how to become a writer, and it is one of my favorite ones that I watch like all the time. Like a few times a year, I will rewatch his talk. I just think he's the loveliest grandpa in the entire world. And yeah, so it'll be really interesting just to like hear his thoughts on stuff. And see who is he writing to? What is he saying? So that one. Okay, and then I got one last one, which was something I did not intend to purchase. I intended just to grab it from the library. I forgot her channel. I think it's Alex Black Reads or something like that. But she talked about Karen Slaughter in her last video. And there's another booktuber that I used to follow that no longer makes videos that would often read Karen Slaughter books, and I just said like, hey, like, where's a good place to start? And she said False Witness. so I ended up getting it. I do hate when the cover doesn't go all the way across. Like, this is a nice floppy paperback with a matte cover, but can you just like give me that extra centimeter? I would appreciate it next time. Stop with the stickers, please. As I said, I've been getting my bullet journal ready, and here's the problem is that my bullet journal, I want to be a place where I can track things, where I can review books that I've read, but there's like this messy phase that I want to engage in before it goes into the bullet journal, because I feel like the bullet journal is like a cleaner place, and that's me just taking random notes as I read. And I was gonna just go to the store and get like a composition notebook or something, but then I was like, no, I want one of those like deconstructed composition books, or I don't know what they're called, but like the recycle ones. And then they didn't have them, and then I just saw something else and I just bought it. And okay, these are just like some moleskin, the moleskin or moleskine, anyway, moleskine notebooks. They're just the little cashier ones, and they're about as big as my head. I don't know what size this is. Slightly in my color scheme. These are a bit more teal, but I just thought these would be good to like carry in your purse or carry with you wherever your book is, and you can scribble and make them messy and just like write down random crap and then formulate your ideas for like a YouTube video and put them in order, and then you have it, and then later you can put them nicely, you know, in your bullet journal. All right, I almost forgot about the mail, so let's get this going. Oh, it's from McLean and Eakin, which is one of my favorite independent bookstores. I forgot what I bought from them as well. Oh no, I remember what I bought. Okay. Time out. So as you know, I finished this nonfiction book about loneliness, and I am really in the mood for another nonfiction, even though nonfiction November was last month and I like did not participate hardly at all. Like now I'm in a nonfiction mood, and there's like a few nonfiction that I can't decide between because I want to read them all. This is a book I ordered because, as you know, I have a Switch now and I'm super into video games now. So this is Critical Hits, and it's a book of essays, which I'm always into essays, writers playing video games. And so, yeah, it's just a bunch of essays written by writers on video games, and I'm hoping it will be on how they boost creativity and all this stuff. I need to put all of these also into my story graph, because every single book that I own but have not read is on my TBR on there. So if you would like to follow me on there, that would be cool, or like add me as a friend, I think, and tell me like, girl, you have too many books, here's what you need to prioritize. That would be helpful. This is from Barnes and Noble. What did I get? Oh, this is a book I heard about somewhere. What? Oh, it was also from Alex. Alex talked about this. So I subscribe to Alex. I don't watch her videos all the time, but I caught her doing like reading sprints or something, and she was reading this book and she freaking loved it. And so I was like, I need this in my life, and I ordered it. So another nonfiction. This is Deep Creek, Finding Hope in the High Country. I don't know where it takes place, but basically on her 120-acre homestead high in the Colorado Rockies, beloved writer Pam Houston learns what it means to care for a piece of land and the creatures on it. Blah, blah, blah. There's all this other stuff about it. Alex mentioned that there's a lot on like trauma and abuse in here, which just adds more depth to the story, and also I may feel more connected to it. I don't know. So many nonfiction I want to read. I just want to like have Christmas break start now and I can just read all the time. Okay, final package. This is from Parnassus. This is a book subscription that I have done for years and years and years. I don't know how many years. I should look it up and like put it. But they send me a book every single month because I pay them to do so. And this one has a little, well, they always come with these little notes. This note is from Ann Patchett. Dear friends, writing about a pandemic during a pandemic is tricky business. When faced with uncertainty, many of us look to the past. Some glorious historical fiction was written during the pandemic. or we concentrated on an unknowable future light years ahead. Lots of dystopian fiction as well. In Day, Michael Cunningham chooses instead to look around. Told in 3 parts, Day takes place on April 5th, 2019, April 5th, 2020, and April 5th, 2021. 3 views from a family over the long haul of COVID-19. Dan and Isabel live in Brooklyn, in a Brooklyn brownstone with their 2 young children, Nathan and Violet. Isabel's brother, Robbie, lives upstairs. It's a balance that works until it doesn't. With everyone trying to do their jobs and go to school from home, things are too close now, space is too tight. Robbie needs to leave, but it's very possible that Robbie is the glue that's holding things together. Robbie, meanwhile, is held together by the perfect man who he invented on Instagram. With spare and gorgeous writing and pitch-perfect dialogue, this book stands beside Cunningham's masterpiece, The Hours, both for its structure and the delicacy with which the story unfolds. It feels less like a novel about life and more like life itself. Day also functions as something of a time capsule. It's as if Cunningham scooped up the pandemic and put it in these pages so that we would remember what it was really like. What was it like? It was complicated. Enjoy, Ann Patchett by Michael Cunningham, and as always, it's a signed copy, although they don't usually put that sticker on it, which is... Is my copy even signed? I feel like, oh, that is so weird. I think this is a tip-in. So normally, the book is signed on the actual cover page or whatever. And this just has a random signature in the front, which I'm a little bummed about because that's not what the point of this book club is. Like, they don't do tip-ins. They do legit signatures. So I think I'm going to contact them and ask about that, like, WTF. So anyway, those are the books that I have. I am going to just have a chill afternoon reading and crafting and working on my bullet journal. And I also need to stop by on here again later to talk to you about my favorite book of March, because I think that is what we are up to. I just took a peek at what it was, and it is one that, sorry for the spoiler, is definitely going to be on my top 10 of the year. So stay tuned for that. So I finally have my thoughts together surrounding this book, and I would love to review it for you. So this is The Loneliness Files by Athena Dixon, and this is published by Tin House. How I heard about this book was from Sarah. I have been watching her channel more and more now that I have read the book, The Art of Libromancy, because it talked so much on how indie publishers are super important, and I feel like I am just using her more as a resource to find good books. And this is a book that she talked about recently, and it sounded incredible as a solo woman living my life. I feel like a book on loneliness would be really important for me to read. So her channel is Eyes on Indie if you are curious about just staying in the loop with what is coming soon in regards to books from indie publishers or what she's read recently and loved, you know, basically all this stuff. This book is a memoir in essays written by a Black woman, and it is essentially basically her experience of loneliness, with also a lot of reflection about how our lives have changed now that we live in front of screens so much, and what it is to be a body in front of a screen. So just to share with you, like, the very start of the book, she said, "I remember loneliness because it is pervasive. It has a way of wrapping itself around me until it hides what's actually true. It squeezes tightly in my mind until what makes sense, what's actually happened, is distorted. Sometimes the loneliness makes me forget the goodness and connection of my life." I think just to start off with that quote gives a really good example about what it's about, and also about the language and like how masterful it is, but also it kind of gives you a a sense for the tone and how this book could be super triggering. So just be careful on that. Like, I personally am living such a great life. I have so much in my life that brings me so much joy, and I am completely comfortable and confident with not being in a relationship at this point in time. Not like I'm never going to be in one, but I'm not, I guess it's not a part of my goals or anything like that. I don't seem as fixated on it as a lot of other people are. So if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. However, even though I'm pretty comfortable with that, I will say that this book like made me feel uncomfortable at times, because even if you are confident with being solo, not single, because that sounds like you're a needy whatever, in the back of your mind all the time, at least for me, is society's expectations weighing down on you. So this author's encounter with loneliness and her description of it sometimes made me feel a bit uncomfortable, and like some feelings rose to the surface that I did not know were there lurking beneath the surface. So for me, I absolutely love this, but just a heads up that it could be slightly triggering. There's a few things that I loved about this book in addition to what it's about, and one of those is this woman's obsession with death and with other people that have died, and how their lives were so disconnected from the world around them that nobody noticed them for quite some time. So some of the people that were mentioned, first of all, Joyce Carol Vincent. She was living in London, died in front of her TV, and it took 2 years for people to find her. And the author was just using that as a place of wondering, I guess, on how connected her own life was and what would happen if she passed away, and more importantly, what kind of an impact she has on the world and those around her at this very moment in her life. Elisa Lam was another one. And if that name doesn't sound familiar, I feel like the case is super familiar. It is a Netflix documentary. I don't know what it's called. I watched it before, and so I don't want to spoil the ending and tell you like what ended up happening. But essentially, Elisa went missing. She was last seen in the Cecil Hotel, which is like this haunted hotel where like a lot of shady stuff has happened. Like it's almost like people think it's cursed or something like that. And the Netflix show basically goes over the last moments that we have seen her on camera and the last pieces of evidence, I guess, that investigators had, which is basically her in an elevator just acting rather bizarrely. So anyway, so she is mentioned. And then again, the last one that was, not the last one that was mentioned, but the last one that I found fascinating was Geneva Chambers, who was this woman who was just like horrible, like just so mean. Just like lived in a neighborhood and just like no one wanted to have anything to do with her. Like they walked on eggshells around her because she would just like be so rude to them, and just there was so much tension surrounding her. Athena Dixon says, she's no longer mean, just dead. I forgot to mention that Geneva Chambers was also not found for 2 years, and her neighbors would like come over and mow her grass and stuff because they just assumed that she just disappeared. Anyway, so I think the reason that the author was so interested in these different situations of people being in this extreme isolation where they wouldn't be found for quite some time is because of this. She says, what we can hope for is that someone sees us in the short time we are illuminated. But that's the fear, to have a split second of brightness and extinguishing before we are ever truly known. So I think that that idea of being known by other people is like even a more nuanced part of loneliness. Like, are you seen? Are you known? Gets so much deeper than just, do people know you? Like, do they truly know you? Are you known? So also connected to some of these people who passed away and were just not even missed for many, many years, were stories about Japan. And I will say this book will like lead you down all these internet rabbit holes. I have a few documentaries on Netflix that I need to watch now, or not on Netflix, sorry, on YouTube, that I need to watch now because of this book. So even though it's very short, it took me forever to read it because I was Googling things, and there's more that's on my watch later list as a result of this book. But in Japan, there's actually a minister of loneliness. And there's also this group of people, and I'm curious if we have them here and just don't have a name for them other than like recluse. But they're called hikikomori, and they're basically people that have their entire lives just inside their homes. They really don't want to go to school or work anymore, and yeah, they're just, it's not like there's a fear of leaving their home or anything. It's just like that's where they feel most comfortable. And actually, it reminded me a bit of Lonely Castle in the Mirror, which was one of my favorite books of last year. But there are documentaries on these people, and I'm really interested to find out more about them. Going a bit more into this book dealt a lot with technology and a lot with how our lives have changed in recent years. So there's so much time, if you just think about the chatter that's going on in your head in any given moment, there's so much thought reflecting on the past or thinking about what you need to do in the future or what you're excited about or whatever. And we don't live in the present very much anymore at all. And in addition, just we have the past and the future that we're so focused on, but oftentimes we're in front of a screen, and that is like a different space that our mind is. It's almost like a pretend world that we're in or traveling, just all in our mind because we're in front of a screen. So there's all these liminal places that we exist in that we haven't before. The author says the liminal spaces of our new world are massive, easy for us to be swallowed into and disorienting. We can only hope we are headed in the right direction when we enter and come out the other side whole. There are so many ways that our life has been changed by technology. If you think like back to your grandparents' generation, people used to just stop by to hang out, and that is not at all the case anymore. Normally you will like have plans way far ahead of time. At the very least you would text. But going even deeper, we don't even call each other anymore. I think that my generation often feels that a text is the most respectful way to contact people. Either a text to say, hey, are you free? Do you mind if I call you? Or just the message via text, because then they can read it at their convenience. And I think that we value just the free time, I guess, of other people now. So we don't want to bother them by calling them or by stopping by in the ways that people used to just pick up the phone and call someone or stop by. And the author talks about the do not call registry, which I'm sure they probably have in other countries as well, but it's like you can register your number and people will not call you, like telemarketers and political people and stuff like that. I signed up for it. I don't know what has happened because I get all these phone calls from people that I don't even answer my phone because I don't know who they are. And I think that that's a thing too, right? Like we don't answer the phone anymore if we don't know whose number is showing up on our phone. And all of that, even though, you know, we don't want telemarketers and we don't want political calls and all that, is keeping us a bit more isolated than we used to be. In addition, so much of our lives are really sorted by an algorithm. If you go on Instagram or Facebook, what you see is a result of an algorithm. You go on YouTube, the recommendations you get or what plays next just automatically is the result of an algorithm. And the author says, I know the lull and comfort of the algorithm, an easy life where there is no true thought required. The algorithm knows me. They've taken the digital scraps of me and pieced together a person who doesn't quite exist, but is exactly who I am. And then taking that a step farther, the author says that she spends so much of her time trying to make herself a perfectly serviceable human that I make myself less of a person. And that makes me think about how we show up online. My videos, someone commented recently, do you script your videos? And I mean, I have notes on topics that I want to hit on during this video review, but no, I don't script. And the reason is because I want to be having a conversation with people. And if you ramble in real life, you're going to get my rambling on here. Like, I want to be authentic and real. And I feel like my videos have improved in quality, and there's, especially if I want to make them cozy, there's a lot of things that I can do better now than when I initially started videos. But there's a whole group of people on YouTube where I have no negative feelings at all about the person, but I don't want to be like them because I don't want this perfection shown on camera. Like, I want it to look real and what my actual apartment looks like, what I actually look like. I didn't put on like any extra makeup or anything. It's just me as I am. And I don't want to be someone who hikes and sets up the camera and then walks in front of the camera and then goes back and gets the camera. And I don't want to be someone who like sets up a camera and then like pretends the camera isn't there and does a bunch of stuff. Like, okay, I think I've strayed too far off the topic of this book, but I think how we present ourselves online impacts us a lot as people and impacts other people that are viewing our content as well. And finally, this book I think is a really, really good book for this time of year because it actually ends on New Year's Eve, and it ends talking about the version of ourselves that we want to create and how we want to go into a new year, and how a new year is this perfectly clean slate and how excited we are to start fresh. So, each year we return plugged into each other with hope and possibility hanging over our heads, waiting for the neat ending of time and a clean slate to begin again. I think that anybody who loves memoirs and essays would love this book. Anyone who loves beautiful language and anyone who wants to really consider how we live today versus how we lived in the past, and how loneliness is a little bit of an epidemic right now. I would be cautious on this if you think that this might be triggering for you, especially around the holidays. I think that emotions sometimes are brought to the surface that might not have been present if it wasn't a holiday season. So just take care of yourself and be careful. But I definitely give this book 5 stars, and I would be really interested to see what other people think if you choose to pick it up.